You're watching Capital One Bowl Mania.
Welcome to the roofclaim.com Boca Raton Bowl as part of Capital One Bowl Mania. It is raining here in South Florida, but Santa Claus came out to play tonight. Liberty looking for its 9th win of the season. They'll square off with MAC champion Toledo. It was 7 years ago, almost to the day, in this bowl game under these conditions, that Toledo head coach Jason Candle won his first game as head coach. He and his star quarterback, MAC champion MVP DeQuan Finn, will look to write the perfect ending to what's been a terrific season for the Toledo Rockets. Liberty at one point was 8-1, ranked in the top 20, but their head coach Hugh Freeze left for Auburn after the season. So Josh Aldridge will be the interim coach tonight, 33 years old, and he and his superstar wide receiver, Demario Douglas, will try to end Liberty's 3-game losing streak and send the Flames out on a high note. And with that, we say good evening from Boca and Ishraaf. Tim Hasselbeck, Marilyn Payne will be with us in just a moment. Both of these teams have had success this season. They've done it primarily with some tremendous defenses.
They have, especially Toledo. You look at Toledo, they're connected defensively. Because of what's happened in previous years, they've played depth, and because of that, they've got a group on that side of the ball that's been excellent.
And Toledo's real strength on defense comes in the secondary.
It really does. That experience in the secondary, as you look at their defensive ranks, basically at the top in every major statistical category. But it's Quinyon Mitchell. You go back to that game against Northern Illinois in October, 4 interceptions, kind of a different variety of how to do it. Obviously a goal line fade, jump ball situation, in zone coverage, reading the quarterback's eyes, and he's not afraid to be aggressive and jump a route either. They're good across that entire secondary, to be honest with you.
Number 1 defense in the MAC. Meanwhile, Liberty has a defense that's basically paid rent in the backfield.
Rent for free, basically. Look, Darrell Johnson on that defensive line is a tremendous player. He's a guy that just has great football awareness. He plays hard, skill to go with scheme. Here's a good example of him running down a play from the backside, tackle for loss. And how about the awareness? UConn trying to run a trick play, knifes inside, diagnoses it, and is able to get the tackle for loss. And, he was described to us almost like a big play wide receiver, somebody that can change the game because of the negative plays that he creates.
Yeah, he's a guy that has a chance to play on Sundays, leading the nation in TFLs. Meanwhile, this Liberty team, they found out on the bus before their final regular season home game against New Mexico State that head coach Hugh Freeze was going to Auburn. It was while they were reading it on their phone. So, Maryland, today is a chance to get a little redemption. That senior day didn't go so well, but this is a second chance at a last goodbye.
Darrell Johnson and fellow senior safety Javon Scruggs say simply, we're not.
We apologize for the technical difficulties. We'll get to Maryland in just a little bit. But we talk so much about the defense. Offensively, Demario Douglas, who you saw in the open there, he's a real star. Chance to play on Sundays, 5'8", shifty, slippery, big play capability.
Yeah, Anish, I agree with you. I think there is an NFL future for Demario Douglas. And the interesting thing when you look at Liberty offensively, it's been a struggle at times and because of changes offensively. But he is the guy that can go. Kind of described as the player that has the most juice on this Liberty offense. You can throw him the go screens. You can throw him the ball down the field. You can hand it to him. As you see there, he has the elusiveness, everything you need in terms of a big play wide receiver, and he's going to need to be able to do it against a good Toledo defense.
Now, this is a Liberty program that played its first FBS game in 2018. They're new to this level. They hired Hugh Freeze. Then this program really started to take off. First ever bowl game, they win. That was the FBC Mortgage Cure Bowl 2019. A year later, they cracked the AP Top 25. This year, they got as high as number 19, but then Hugh Freeze leaves for Auburn. Jamie Chadwell brought in as head coach after a successful run at Coastal Carolina. And next year, Liberty moves from the ranks of the Independent to Conference USA. Toledo has won the toss. they elected to defer, so Liberty will receive, and we'll solve the mystery as to who plays quarterback for Liberty in just a few moments. Demario Douglas, his first touch. And he is swarmed at about the 17-yard line. Well, Tim, last year Liberty had a pro at quarterback in Malik Willis. He now plays for the Titans. They opened the season with Charlie Brewer. You know him from Baylor and briefly at Utah. Brewer got hurt. Caden Salter had a run, missed time with a groin injury. Jonathan Bennett ended up making 7 starts. And it looks like it'll be Caden Salter, the Tennessee transfer, who takes the first snap. We were told there's a good chance we could also see Bennett later on today.
Yeah, would not be surprised if we see both. But Salter, I think, a guy that just has so much ability that they want to see him out on the field.
And on first down, it is Douglas on the fly sweep, and he splashes down at the 23-yard line, a pickup of about 6 on the play. 2nd and 4 for Toledo and this terrific defense, knowing where number 3 is at all times. That is objective number 1 defensively.
Yeah, have to know where Douglas is. Have to, have probably more than one player on him anytime you can.
Salter to the air, completes near side. It's Caleb Snead, 18th catch of this season. He had his best game in the last regular season game. And a first down for Liberty. What do you like about Salter?
Well, here's what I like so far. The touch pass and then a completion to Snead. So now you're 2 for 2 if you're Caden Salter in this ball game.
Shedro Lewis goes wide, 4-man rush. Salter fires underneath, and that's caught at the 40. Pickup of 4. There's Douglas again, so he returns the opening kickoff. You see him with jet motion. Now he catches a pass the traditional way. There is a concerted effort to get him the ball.
No doubt about it, and I think this too, and they should look at it, the rain is not coming down that hard the way it was in warm-ups, and so kind of easy throws to get Salter in a rhythm.
Salter being chased, eluding the pursuit, and fires incomplete again, targeting Douglas.
But I have to say, I'm a bit surprised. Now, obviously, the touch pass to start the game basically was a sweep, but Josh Aldridge had talked so much to us about, being conservative offensively, not turn the football over, don't put this defense in a bad spot, and they've opened up throwing the football.
Look at the numbers on Salter. He started back-to-back games against UAB and Wake, and then had some groin issues, had surgery, missed a month. On the slant, there's C.J. Yarborough, big target on the outside at 6'3". He didn't play last year to focus his time on the ROTC program.
Well, and this is a really good job just getting his body inside. You mentioned it, 6'3". He's got all he needs to do to pick up the first down.
For Liberty, the challenge this year at times has been consistency on offense. Obviously, when quarterback's a revolving door, it makes it difficult to do.
It does. Look, time on task when you're playing the position, especially if it's an offense that you're not super familiar with, which certainly the case for Salter.
Sibley in the backfield now. Design quarterback run. And Salter pinballs his way to the 45-yard line, a pickup of 8. Deontay Johnson, heart and soul, the vocal leader of that Toledo defense with the tackle.
Just a design quarterback run. Basically, it's a little delay to kind of, allow the guys to pull through there, power run. And I would say Chris Konakis, who's the offensive line coach who's calling plays in this football game, is off to a really good start.
Zone read, it's a handoff. And that's Shedro Lewis, a gain of 2. You look at the 3-game losing streak at the end of the year for Liberty after the 8-1 start. A lot of different factors. You start with the head coach, Hugh Freeze. He talked to people around the program. That was around the time he started talking to Auburn. But another big loss, personnel-wise, Day-Day Hunter. He was on pace for more than 1,200 yards rushing. You lose your top running back. That hurt as well.
It hurt big time. Look, they're 8-1 in games that he played in. That one loss to the Wake Forest game that could easily gone the other direction. He's averaging over 6.5 yards per carry, so certainly miss him.
There's Douglas, little pop pass again. Still going. Look at the elusiveness of Demario Douglas. All that for no gain, but impressive nonetheless.
I mean, you can just see why you need to have him accounted for. You can also see why, Liberty wants to do anything they can to get him the football. I mean, it just wasn't blocked well whatsoever. Jamal Hines is in the backfield and kind of makes him bounce it, and just kind of slippery and elusive. And for a smaller statured player at 5'8", 170, does a good job of playing through contact.
Dallas Scant, Toledo's leading tackler. A little slow to get up. A transfer from Ohio State, working on his MBA at Toledo. So 4th down coming up, and we'll see what Liberty decides to do. Plus territory. And they will bring the punt team on. Aiden Alvis, special teams MVP of Liberty's bowl game last year, to kick it away. Adam Beal waits for the kick. Line drive kick, and Beal makes the fair catch at the 12, 33-yard punt. And sets the tone early. Both teams very comfortable relying on their defense. Toledo's quarterback is DeQuan Finn. He too finally healthy. He's battled leg and shoulder injuries all season, played well in the MAC championship. Tim, a true dual threat who's a game changer for this program.
Dual threat is right, and you mentioned the MAC championship game, played well in that game, obviously he's the MVP of the game. And I think when you say dual threat, I mean, he's primarily a runner, but he's good throwing the football, especially on the move, and a much better offense when he's available and healthy.
Jaquez Stewart begins as the running back. A flag down. There's Stewart out of the backfield. Room to run. And out of bounds at the 30-yard line, a pickup of 18.
Illegal formation on the offense. 5 players in the backfield. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. First down.
And I think they end up on the right side of this offensive line. I think they're a right tackle, and so he's off the ball. And I think with that formation, they're basically saying, hey, your right tackle is not on the football. You got to get him moved up, otherwise legal formation.
Finn will keep it, sheds a tackler, and dives ahead to the 12-yard line. Mike Smith will be credited with the tackle. Liberty missing a couple of key players on their defense. Ahmad Walker, 11 TFLs in the transfer portal. He went to SMU, and they're without one of their corners, Chris Meganson. On the ground here, on 2nd down, it's Jaquez Stewart, who had 93 rush yards in the MAC championship, gets 6, and it'll set up a 3rd down.
Yeah, a little bit of Toledo just saying, hey, get set quick. We're going to quick snap you and try to hit it. And pretty good play on 2nd and long.
Empty set here on 3rd and 4. Darrell Johnson, 11 in red, standing up over the right tackle. Johnson got in the backfield. Finn gets rid of it. The pass is caught, and it'll be a 1st down for Toledo. Out of bounds. A gain of a dozen. That's Devin Maddox.
It's a really nice job by Finn here. You see Darrell Johnson from the left side of the screen, or excuse me, right side of the screen. He's going to dip inside. You feel that escape out and still play on time for the completion on 3rd down. That's well done.
Toledo, MAC champions, #1 scoring offense in the MAC, 32 points per game. And Finn, the quarterback, part of a 4-headed rushing monster. 4 guys with almost identical carries. Here's Stewart looking for the edge. Finds it. And down the sideline before he's blasted out of bounds at the 39. Pickup of 9. It sets up 2nd and 1, and the playbook is open.
Playbook is open, and that's a nice job of getting to the perimeter by Stewart. It's really well blocked to get to the edge, and been impressed so far by this Toledo offensive line in terms of how they've dealt with this front for Liberty that's really been disruptive against everybody they've faced this year.
Two tight ends on 2nd and 1. It's Stewart again, finds a crease and moves the chains. Jaquez Stewart, for his career, almost 6 yards per carry, and he's got that quick burst.
He does have that burst, and I think because they play a variety of backs at Toledo, I think that helps these guys, stay fresh, run hard when they're out there. Also, a sense of competition when you do that I think is also healthy.
Yeah, we'll see Stewart. Micah Kelly's in. Penny Boone, the Maryland transfer, also gets some run. Finn rolling to his right. Eyes upfield, and down he goes. That's Darrell Johnson, the nation's leader in TFLs, and he comes up with a sack to set up 2nd and long.
Yeah, that's a really nice play by Johnson because he's really trying to, not prevent Finn to get to the perimeter. You see him just kind of stringing along, and then finally, it's like, no, I'm going ahead and fire here. I'm going to make this play.
It's almost as if he learned from the over pursuit earlier on this drive.
Yes, I think so.
2nd down now, 13 to go after a loss of 3. 9th sack of the season for Johnson. Three-man rush, Finn down the seam, and it's caught. Anthony Torres, the tight end, just his 5th reception of the season. Toledo into plus territory. They move the chains again.
It's a great job of seeing it by Finn. You see that safety rotate to the middle of the screen, then it's just about throwing that seam route to Torres, which was right on time.
Finn's got time. He'll let it fly. A lot of contact, no flag intended for Maddox. Dejon Anthony in coverage.
It's a good job of Dejon Anthony, who's finds himself, in a starting role in this bowl game, and some hand fighting, but I do think because of the way that ball was thrown out of bounds, long foul ball basically.
That's a quarterback, not calling for the DPI.
I mean, ball's got to come down and play.
Micah Kelly across the 40. Kelly, another speedster. Third down now, and you got to be careful if you're Toledo. This Liberty defense can come after you here. 3rd down, it's a passing down, 8 to go. Play clock in single digits. Finn, speed option, pitches to Kelly. Finds the edge, runs out of bounds, well shy of the marker, driven out by Akeel Washington. And it'll bring up 4th down, an early decision for Jason Candle. This is a Toledo team that likes to be aggressive on 4th down.
Yeah, and I think field position, I think the conditions probably leading them to that. And how about Liberty? One of the reasons they're a top 20 3rd down defense. You face the speed option on 3rd and 8, but obviously ready for it and forces 4th and 8 opportunity for Toledo.
No surprise, Jason Candle electing to go for it. Here comes the pressure. Finn flushed, trying to escape. He's not going to get anywhere and driven out of bounds for a big loss. We told you this defense can pay rent in the backfield. Rent was due on that last play. Turnover on downs. Liberty takes over near midfield. Scoreless first quarter with the rain coming down. We send it to the field and Maryland Payne.
The Liberty defensive seniors Darrell Johnson and Javon Scruggs particularly confident that they will not lose this bowl game, as they see it as their 2nd opportunity for a senior day. On actual senior day, they read on the bus to the game that head coach Hugh Freeze was in fact going to leave to take the Auburn head coaching job. Once at the stadium, Freeze met with the team and explained that yes, he was talking to coaches about another job. These seniors were frustrated that they did let their emotions overcome their their play on their senior day, but they pride themselves on a culture tenet of not letting their circumstances dictate the way they play, compete, or focus. So they say this today is their last opportunity to prove just that.
Josh Aldridge, the interim coach, told us they owe it to these seniors who laid the foundation for the success this program has had at the FBS level. Salter on first down, lets it fly deep downfield, a lot of contact. They'll let him play through it again. It's C.J. Daniels, the intended target. Chris McDonald in coverage.
And good coverage by McDonald, because that's a tough route to cover. It's a kind of a high-angled corner route, and I think I'm just still kind of surprised. You see the pressure from the secondary, but it's one-on-one coverage basically from the hash to the sideline. And you know, the coaching point there for quarterbacks is let your guy get his hands on the football, you know, rather than just throwing it too far, not giving him a chance.
On second down, it's a run. It's Shedro Lewis. And he makes his way into Toledo territory to set up a third down and short. And now from here, plus territory inside the 45, you could be looking at 2 plays in the holster.
Yeah, I think so too. And the other thing to consider when you look at Liberty this year, did such a great job of creating takeaways, but they were bad at converting those into points. Kind of one of the worst in college football. And so, see if you can fix that in this opportunity here.
2 tight ends into the game, pistol look. Salter will keep lots of room on the outside and out of bounds inside the 25-yard line. He was hoping that Bollinger, that hybrid tight end fullback, could get out in front and clear the path, but he wisely chose discretion over valor when he figured Bollinger couldn't.
Yeah, and it's just a zone read, and you're reading the edge player, and it's Jackson Barrow, and he crashes down, and when he does that, Salter just keeps it and no one's home.
Lewis goes wide. Salter trying to set up the screen to his tight end to Jackson. Incomplete, second down.
And that's really close to hitting. Chris Klenak is doing a heck of a job calling this game. They have 4 out strong to the right, but they're running this tight end screen. It really just doesn't find a window. Judge Culpepper is kind of flying in there and gets a piece of it. If he doesn't, I think Liberty's got a big play on the tight end screen.
Culpepper's dad, Brad, former All-American at Florida, played almost a decade in the NFL. Salter firing downfield. Now we get a flag. It's incomplete in the direction of Snead. McDonald again in coverage.
Pass interference on the defense, number 13. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
I think it's that right hand hooked, and I don't know. I gotta be honest, I think it's pretty well played. And you said it before, like, I am gonna favor the offense. I mean, don't get that wrong. I am, but like, to me, like, you are allowed to touch them. You know, you just can't, alter their path.
There were a couple other ones a little more egregious.
I think so. Chris McDonald, really both of these corners, very good players, and I think that was pretty well played.
First down and goal from the 9. This is Lewis, up the gut, reaching, and in for a score.
Shedro Lewis with some good blocking in front of him. A read play similar to the one we saw on third down earlier, and just does a nice job of sifting his way through it. He's 5'8", 170, not a real big guy, but he's coming inside here, basically isn't touched, just a strong finish, and pretty sure that he extends that football out before a knee is down. And I mentioned it earlier, scoring off of turnovers, not something Liberty did a good job of during the regular season, but nice job after the stop on downs.
The PAT by Nick Brown is good. This season has been an odyssey for Shedro Lewis. He lost his father during the season, the week of the Arkansas game. played in that game for Dad, missed the next one to attend the funeral. He's got the first touchdown for Liberty in the Boca Bowl.
The RoofPlane.com Boca Raton Bowl is brought to you by RoofPlane. Protection made simple. Boca Raton, the perfect blend of business and pleasure. Visit businessboca.com. And TaxAct. File for less and get more.
7 years ago, Jason Candle won his first game as a head coach that came in this stadium, in this bowl game, and like today, in driving rain. Matt Campbell, who had been Toledo's coach, had left for Iowa State just 20 days prior, so a full circle moment for Jason Candle. Didn't really want to talk about that with us, said, hey, this week, this game, about the players.
Definitely about the players. Couple things to clear up. It is sunny here sometimes. It doesn't always rain here. We can confirm that. Guys did get to spend some time at the beach this week, and but he did admit, pretty cool to get your first win as a head coach in a bowl game.
How about the strip in front of the Liberty sideline, which says 1.8 miles to the beach? Nice little recruiting pitch there for FAU. 3:50 to go in quarter number one. Liberty on top. It'll be Toledo football from the 25 on the other side. Tomorrow night, Bowl Mania comes to Bourbon Street. It's Western Kentucky against South Alabama. South Alabama's head coach, Kane Womack, was a former Hugh Freeze assistant at Ole Miss. It's the R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific on ESPN. Second drive now for Toledo after Liberty scored on a Shedrow Lewis touchdown run. And DeQuan Finn hands off to Jaquez Stewart. And there's that Liberty defense again making the stop right at the line of scrimmage. Darrell Johnson, we're calling number 11's name a lot. That's not a surprise.
A lot. His athleticism, his ability to shed. Look at him at the right side of the screen. Just does a good job of saying, hey, look, Anthony Torres, get out of my way. I'm making a play in the backfield. And I've really been impressed just with his athleticism, but also strength at point of attack.
Finn looking for running room and able to squeak out about 4. Darrell Johnson, Tim, is a guy who didn't have to play in this game. He's got an NFL future. What does it say about him that he chose to play?
You know, I think that probably being a part of this program has meant a lot to him. I think loyalty to his teammates. I think, you mentioned the desire to go out as a winner. You think about, how it all ends here, and I think that there's just an appreciation for playing the game, and it shows with his effort.
Pressure again off the edge. Finn crunched, gets away, and then he stood up by a swarm of red shirts. A loss of 7 on the play. Right now, Liberty is winning the battle on the edge. They're keeping Finn in the pocket. And there is an injured player down. It is DeQuan Finn. The Toledo quarterback is down at the 20-yard line. Finn this season battled through shoulder and ankle injuries. He had to miss a couple of games. In the regular season finale, only played the first quarter, really couldn't go. Came back healthy for the MAC championship, and the team told us he's as healthy now going into this game as he's been all season. You hate to see it.
You hate to see it, and Liberty did a good job of getting to him. I believe it was Kendi Charles who was the first player there, and because he's such a tough, competitive guy, DeQuan Finn really trying to escape, and it was after that initial escape, there was another wave of Liberty defenders. Ended up being quite a crunch at the end here. So, here comes Charles, 91, And he gets there initially. He's got him wrapped up, but you see just the fight and the competitiveness to get out, and then that collision there and then gets driven back. It's good to see him on his feet and under his own power coming off the field.
If he cannot continue, at least Toledo knows they have a quarterback in Tucker Gleason who has seen a significant number of meaningful snaps this season.
I mean, he has. I mean, he's got 8 touchdown passes on the year, and he's played, and he's played meaningful games, and obviously not the plan coming into this one, but they do have a backup that has experience.
40-yard kick by the Australian Jonathan Batsky, not much of a return by Douglas, and it'll be Liberty football. Bowl season rolls on Thursday night with the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl. We've got Baylor, we've got Air Force. Baylor's got a stud freshman running back in Richard Reese. Air Force, the best rushing offense in the country. Brad Roberts, third among all FBS backs in total yards. Coverage begins at 7:30 Eastern. Caden Salter, 5 out of 8, 29 yards, 28 yards with his legs as well. Third drive for Liberty. Screen pass. Sibley juggled it, had to go back for it, and he goes out of bounds after a pickup of about 3. Let's give some credit here to Chris Klinakis. He's the play caller for this game. He's called a terrific game for Liberty so far.
He has. He's gone to this formation a few times, this kind of bunch, this wide bunch, but he's gotten Caden Salter into a rhythm. He's done a good job with the run game. He's not been afraid to take shots down the field, and I think for an offense that had struggled at times this year, they look like they've been in a pretty good rhythm.
Against what has been a really good defense. Salter to the air. One-on-one downfield. Incomplete. And a flag at the end of the play. It was Sneed and McDonald. This is a Toledo defense that likes to put its corners on an island. They trust them. I don't know about that.
Well, and Toledo style play certainly is play man.
On the defense on the 13. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Play man and challenge you. Now, earlier I didn't think Chris McDonald should have been called for PI. This one was. He just gets beat immediately, and he's just there too early. Kind of grabs Sneed's arm, and it's interesting because McDonald is a player that started as a true freshman. He's played inside, he's played outside. He's a good player, but he's been attacked so far by Liberty.
Salter on the speed option. Little improv in Boca. And a pickup of 5. It'll bring up 2nd and 5. Ball on the 40-yard line of Toledo. Final minute, first quarter. Liberty has dominated the line of scrimmage while on defense, and they've been doing most of it on offense as well.
Yeah, they have, and I'm glad you brought up Chris Klinakis because I think there was some mystery of how this was going to go. Offensive line coach, hey, you're going to run the football, take the air out of it, but they have not done that.
That throw behind Yarborough. And we're told there's an update on Daquan Finn. Marilyn?
Daquan Finn was walked back to the locker room after a brief stint in the tent. They were looking at his right ankle or foot while he was in the tent, but he did walk back to the locker room on his own power. Nothing taped and no limp, so something to keep an eye on. I'll give you more as I have it.
Now Tucker Gleason would take over at quarterback if Finn cannot continue. Third down here in the final 29 seconds of the opening quarter. Salter to the air. Has Douglas on the drag. Can he make somebody miss? Not this time. He lost a yard. It'll bring up 4th down. Salter walking over to her sideline. Liberty does not have to run another play. First quarter in the books. It'll be 4th and 6 Liberty when the second quarter begins. And when we come back, we will hear from Liberty's next head football coach, Jamie Chadwell. We'll be down on the sidelines with Marilyn Payne on the other side.
Liberty leads Toledo 7-0 after one quarter here in Boca Raton. With me now, the next head coach, now the current head coach after this game at Liberty University, Jamie Chadwell. Will you walk me through what this transition has been like? I know it's just been a short time in the role, but recruiting, coming into Liberty and all the likes this week.
Well, I'll tell you, it's like drinking water, not from a fire hose, from a fire hydrant. Trying to recruit, trying to put together staff, learn the new team, and it's been challenging, but Liberty's a special place, and my family and I are excited about being here and hopefully finish up recruiting tomorrow and sign a date and get a big win tonight.
Now, as Liberty fights to be one of the best group of 5 programs in the country, what is there available that you believe will make that happen with you at the helm?
Well, going into Conference USA, one, that gives us an opportunity for CFP. We have great resources from stadium, from facilities and everything from that nature. The main thing is our people are unbelievable, and they're committed for us to go in and win championships, and that's the reason why I chose it.
A big signing day tomorrow. What are your expectations?
Well, one, you hope you hold on to these commits that I got to know the last 2 weeks. Hopefully we added some new ones, and then hopefully there's not too many surprises, and if there is any, they're on our Liberty side.
Thanks so much for the time.
Thank you.
Anish?
Thank you, Marilyn. Jamie Chadwell, after a successful run at Coastal Carolina, will begin the next part of his career at Liberty, and a new quarterback for Toledo after DeQuan Finn went down on the last drive. Tucker Gleason comes in. He's played in 8 games this year. He started 2, led Toledo to a big win late in the season at Eastern Michigan, was named the MAC West Offensive Player of the Week following that game. And the handoff is to Penny Boone, the Maryland transfer. Hit at the line of scrimmage, might have lost a half yard. This Liberty defense winning in the trenches.
They are winning up front, and then you throw into the mix the rain change at quarterback. It can become a challenge for you offensively, and so Jason Candle's going to have to find a way to kind of, at a minimum, flip the field for Toledo.
First throw for Gleason, and able to complete across the 20-yard line.
And how about that? That's a pretty good one there. Off of the play action, moving to his left, hits the over route. This is not an easy throw. See, he's got his tight end coming across the formation, and it's just good timing to get to Lenny Cool, and well done by Tucker Gleason.
6th catch of the season for Cool. Here's Boone, sheds the initial tackler, and then rumbles across the 30, a first down, a gain of 10. Anthony, the cornerback, brought him down. Penny Boone brings you a little different dimension than Micah Kelly and Jaquez Stewart.
That's exactly where I was going. You could see it there, and I love when teams kind of have that combo. You know, the quick guy, the shifty guy, the little guy that can hide in and out of there, and then the big back who just is going to run through you. He's looking for contact. Back
to Boone, and he thunders to the 40, a pickup of 9. 6'1", 235 out of Detroit. In fact, he was on the same high school team as DeQuan Finn.
Yeah, imagine defending those guys in high school. Just this is what you're looking at. You're looking at a mouthful of Penny Boone, and I do think that this is something that, as you face a really athletic Liberty defense, sometimes just say, look, we're going to try to go right at you and, not play around with the athleticism, let you knife underneath to do anything like that. That can get you going offensively.
2 tight ends in the game. Play clock was down to 0. Boone again. And we're noticing the first guy can't get Boone down. He gets enough for a first down.
In the fall forward, right? And that's part of it.
That's physics.
Yeah, and if you can do that, that can start to wear on a defense a little bit. And so I like the adjustment there with Penny Boone. Now, a little tired after running it a few times, had some time off, and so you got Stewart back at the backfield.
Gleason takes a shot downfield, open receiver, it's caught. Inside the 25-yard line, that's a gain of 36. It's the tight end, Jamal Turner, with the reception. 6th-year senior. They usually look to him more inside the red zone and when it's goal to go.
But he's a good receiver from the tight end position, and that's an outstanding read by Tucker Gleason. High-low concept, and did a great job of seeing it.
Here's Stewart. He's ambushed, and down he goes. Kendi Charles finished him off for a loss.
You know, as we go back to it, it's a high-low to the left, and the corner squats on it. It's just a good job of seeing it by Gleason and then throwing it on time, because he's going to run out of room into the boundary, and Gleason should feel good about that. Get up and go, and been impressed so far coming off the bench in these wet conditions.
Little orbit motion. Gleason sets, fires, incomplete. Wanted Turner again. That time for 6. He's a big target at 6'6", 245.
Yeah, and I'm impressed at 245 how well he runs. You know, I mean, he's one of these guys at times you look at him and he can run like a receiver, which is why they use him outside the numbers. And I think he had a chance there, a little more air on it by Gleason, and could have been another score.
On 3rd and short, Gleason to the air. Over the middle, too high, and nearly intercepted. Almost picked off by Liberty and a Corey Jones.
And it was a great read by Gleason. Starts front side, comes back to the in cut. Ball's a little high behind Maddox, and just because he missed a little bit there, usually tips in the middle of the field turn into interceptions. And Jones just not able to come down with that one. Fortunate break for Toledo.
So a 41-yard kick by Thomas Clucky. Season long 45, and this one is good. Toledo gets on the board on the Clucky field goal. It's still 7-3 Liberty early in the second. Earlier this month, Toledo won its second MAC championship under Jason Candle. The last title came in 2017. December 3rd, Jacquez Stewart, 93 yards rushing, 29 on a touchdown. Demir Blankenship hauling in a touchdown that gave Toledo some breathing room. It was the Rockets over the Ohio Bobcats, 17-7 at Ford Field in Detroit. And Toledo, with a win today, can get to 8 wins on the season. You look at their losses, 4 of their 5 losses by 7 points or less. They're trying to get back in the win column in bowl games as well. They won the Boca Bowl here in 2015. Since then, they've lost 4 straight bowl games. There's Demario Douglas, a dangerous return man. Snakes to the outside and takes it across the 20-yard line. Anish Shroff, Tim Hasselbeck, Marilyn Payne. Tim, coming into the game, we were told there was a good chance Liberty would use 2 quarterbacks, Salter and Jonathan Bennett, but the way Salter has played so far,
Hey, this is the first game we've called together. You read my mind on that as he was coming out. I was expecting to see 2 quarterbacks, but the way Salter has played, I wouldn't want to change it. And I think that, you know, there was probably some talk, and I do get the sense that he was getting the majority of the reps and maybe was going to play the majority of the game, but I think he's done a really nice job. And when you've had a long layoff and then you come in, the speed of the game against a good defense, dealing with some bad weather conditions, I've been impressed.
Yeah, it's been a frustrating injury-plagued season for Salter, but they believe in his upside. Off play action, and nowhere to go. Salter run out of bounds. Jackson Barrow, one of the linebackers sophomore out of Indianapolis. It'll bring up 3rd and long. Toledo trying to remind its fans and the people watching, hey, this was the best defense in the MAC.
That's right, and so they're not going to go away quietly. We all, listen, right as we compliment Salter, can we throw it away so it's not a sack, not a negative play? Can we do that, though, if I'm going to sing your praises?
Announcer jinx. 3rd and 17 now. It's a Rockets defense with 7 all-conference selections and 4 first-teamers. Salter will run on the zone read, breaks a tackle, dives across the 30. They got a lot of it back, but still a couple of yards shy. 4th down.
Got a lot of it back, almost hit it there. Toledo's coming up with a pressure off of the left side of the screen, top of the screen, and this almost hits. You see if he can just kind of sneak through one more defender there. He's going to fall forward for the 1st down. Kind of goes back to, Anish, what you were talking about before, is that Chris Klenakis on 3rd and forever, dials up a quarterback run, and it nearly hits.
Aiden Alvis to punt it away, and Adam Beal waits at his own 25. This punt will chase. Beal back inside the 20. And he cuts a jagged path across the 35, out close to the 40, a 52-yard kick. A nice return for Beal. And we'll see who comes out at quarterback for Toledo on their next drive when we come back. That is the ultimate prize tonight in Boca Raton.
The RoofClaim.com Boca Raton Bowl is brought to you by the Palm Beaches. The golden age of travel is back in the Palm Beaches.
Part of the experience of going to a place like Boca Raton, RoofClaim.com Boca Raton Bowl, Toledo players, you get Florida weather, you get the beach. Tim, what was the best bowl game you played in?
The Aloha Bowl, okay? So anytime there's beach water, especially if you're coming from somewhere not that warm, beachy, or nice weather, it's always good. Little known fact, my first and last college football game in Hawaii. Go figure for a guy from BC, and obviously good to see Daquan Finn back in the lineup under center for Toledo at quarterback.
Yeah, he got hurt, missed the last series, now back in. He was the MVP of the MAC championship game. Has battled injuries all season long, missed a couple of games, and back in there. True dual threat quarterback who changes the offense. Takes a big hit on 1st down and fires incomplete downfield. Now that's a welcome back and a rude one.
Hey, you want to come back out here? Here's Darrell Johnson back in your face as you're trying to push the ball down the field. You really had a one-on-one opportunity, and it's just a matter of giving your guy a chance to touch the football, get his hands on it, and you see Johnson bearing down on Finn back in the lineup, but Finn hopped right back up.
Beal goes in motion. Finn will run. And he's going to be close to the 1st down marker. It'll set up 3rd and short.
I thought it was interesting when Jason Candle said, he's today's quarterback when talking about Finn. The ability to be a runner as well, and it just opens up so many different things for you offensively, especially on down and distances like this.
Here comes Stewart. Liberty trying to seal the edge, but Stewart gets just enough for a 1st down. Now back to Finn. He had a game this year against Kent State where he accounted for 7 touchdowns, 6 through the air, 1 on the ground.
And you need your quarterback to be amazing when you're down 21 at one point in that football game and then win by 21.
Finn fires, and that's complete. It's Zyros, 6'3" redshirt freshman with his 10th catch.
And here's Finn on the perimeter, getting him moved. Being a pocket passer, isn't always easy, but just little movements, half rolls, just something off of action. I just feel like it's something that Finn does well.
He hesitated and then gets forward, and he's going to have what looks to be close to a first down. They will give it to him.
He kind of popped out of there, didn't he? It looked like he was bottled up, and next thing you know, shot out the back end.
Someone fired a couple of Mentos in that Coke.
Yeah.
6.5 to go, first half. Toledo still looking for its first touchdown. They bring in the bruiser now, Penny Boone, in the backfield. Snap gets away, but a flag down, multiple flags down.
Snap infraction on the offense, number 56. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Yeah, that's Devin Rogers, who was moved from D tackle to center right before the season started due to an injury, and there have been some adventurous moments with him. Got away with one there. That's probably the best case scenario, snap infraction.
I think he flinched originally. We couldn't see the ball. I think he flinched originally and then rolled it back, and it was a fortunate break for Toledo.
Here comes Boone trying to get downhill, only a yard. Mike Smith, the team's leading tackler, met him. Third down.
You see what happens when an offense like Toledo's, really most offenses in college football, you get set back, you get off schedule. It's a bear because defenses have become complex enough that asking a quarterback like Finn to be a pure pocket passer, some of these known passing situations against this front, it's just such a tall ask.
Excuse me, 2nd and 14. Finn keeps and hit quickly. Trey Butler the stop. It'll bring up 3rd down and long. This might be one, Tim, where if Toledo has a play to get half of it back, you got a 4th down call.
I believe it's a great point because of where you are in the field. Then also, if you're trying to get all of it back and you're trying to push something down the field, you're risking a negative play against this great pass rush. And so, like, screen, maybe something, perimeter screen, anything like that to get some of it back.
Liberty drops 7. Here's Jawan Newton, their most dangerous receiver. Tornadoed away from one player, and he gets inside the 40. Forward progress gives him the 38-yard line. So it'll bring up 4th down, and let's see what Jason Candle elects to do. It looks like he'll bring on the punt team.
But Anish, I think they were trying to do what you were talking about. I think they were throwing this. This is a kind of a shallow cross screen. The guys deep actually go and block. If Newton will actually just get up the field and pick up a few more yards, then I think it's a much different conversation we're having. Instead, we're seeing a punt.
Jonathan Batsky punts it away. High kick, not a lot of distance. Fair catch called for and made at the 16-yard line. Liberty ball. They go into their 4-minute drill on the other side. Part of the Bowl Week experience is giving back to the community that hosts you, and after Toledo's walkthrough Sunday, a group of players joined their defensive coordinator Vince Karras to meet with staff at Baptist Health Boca Raton Regional Hospital to thank the people there for the tremendous work they do with the children in their care. On that same day, the Liberty players headed to Palm Beach Warehouse for Toys for Tots, helping to make the holiday season special for a lot of kids.
It's the best part of the bowl experience. We showed the beach and the fishing and the fun, but giving back to these communities, these host cities, one of the best things that happens to any of these players that take part in the bowl prep.
Dangerous throw there by Salter in the direction of Noah Frith. One guy that Liberty really has not come after is the one we highlighted in the open, Quinyon Mitchell, number 27 in blue. 5 interceptions, national leader in pass breakups and passes defended. Now, looks like a little miscommunication on the mesh point. Salter only got a yard. Tim, I'm not sure he knew what he wanted to do until the very end.
Anish, you're exactly right. That's precisely what happened, and it's one of the things that just gets repped over and over again. It's why when coaches talk about, hey, guy, missed practice time, and it's the timing, it's things like that, how fast it happens, and in live action. And you're fortunate there, if you're Liberty, that ball didn't end up on the ground.
So 3rd down and 9. Liberty 2 for 5 today on 3rd downs. On the season, only 37%. But the play clock winding down. Salter pumps, fires over the middle, nearly intercepted. That was McDonald, who's been called for a couple of PIs today. Nearly gave Toledo prime field position.
Well, Quinyon Mitchell has not been tested. It's been McDonald who's been tested. You mentioned the pass interference calls earlier. He does a nice job there of just staying with Douglas. He's come across the middle of the field, and that little double clutch by Salter allowed McDonald to kind of close the cushion, make a play on the football.
They've had some pretty good DBs here. They had a couple of guys drafted from the secondary last year. Sam Womack, Tyson Anderson, both 5th-round picks. Beal camps under the punt. And takes it to about the 37, 38-yard line. A 49-yard kick from Alvis. 2:49 to go, opening half. Toledo ball. Kevin, thank you. Anish Shroff, Tim Hasselbeck, Marilyn Payne, and a driving Florida rain. Tim, we warned everybody at the start of the game. These were 2 really strong defenses, and this first half has played out like that in a lot of ways.
It really has. Been the defensive line for Liberty for the most part, and then for Toledo, I think they've really buckled down.
Finn in the pocket, slips out, stays on his feet, and finally tracked down by Anthony, and he's going to be close to the 1st down marker. Might be about a half-yard shy, 2nd and short.
As you see this rain coming down, there's an element as a quarterback where it almost has to be perfect at times, because you just don't feel like you've got a great grip on the football, and would not be surprised to see Finn do that unless something is wide open.
Out of the empty set, design quarterback run. Liberty read it, flag down. Rain coming down, you go 5 wide with a running quarterback, you're always aware, and it seemed Liberty was not off guard.
There is no foul on the play. 3rd down.
3rd down. And I was going to say, a lot of times what happens is your right tackle, doesn't know where the quarterback is. He might get caught grabbing, which I thought that maybe happened to Nick Rossi, but officials decide otherwise, and Toledo's now got something going.
Yeah, it's a 1st down, short pickup, but enough to move the chains. Toledo's got all 3 timeouts. Stewart goes wide. Finn, chest high snap. Another quarterback run. And he burrows inside the 45, a gain of 6. 2nd and 4, we come up on 90 seconds to play in the half.
And one of the things Toledo does a pretty cool job of, the back will leave the backfield, so you think it's empty. But then you have that tight end kind of in that wing position who can be a lead blocker on the quarterback design runs.
Here comes Stewart. And he is to the 35. That's a 1st down. It'll momentarily stop the clock.
And it's just power football at this point. It's what you kind of need to do in these conditions for Toledo.
And now Jason Candle will use the first of his 3 timeouts. 1:16 to go. First half, it's 7-3, Liberty on top. And we are getting closer and closer to playoff football, college football playoff semis. New Year's Eve on ESPN, number 2 Michigan, number 3 TCU. Michigan, the great offensive line, they were the Joe Moore Award winners. That's 2 years in a row. And then Georgia against Ohio State, 1-4 in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Let me ask you straight up, is anybody taking down Georgia?
They're so good, and I think you need to give Stetson Bennett credit for just how he's managed all the expectations, played well enough to get great play out of the guys around him, and look, they have been the best team in college football this year, but there's a playoff. You got to prove it a couple more times.
1st and 10 Toledo from the 35. Finn to the air. Pressure coming off the edge. Finn fires downfield, and that's going to be incomplete. 2nd down. Clock stops with 1:10, and Finn pointing. Was that a route that wasn't run properly?
You know, it looks like that's what he's saying. I thought he had a shallow cross there. A lot of bodies, a lot of defenders around that shallow cross, and it was probably better served as a throwaway.
Finn will run again. Straight up the middle to the 31, a gain of 4. Kendi Charles with the tackle. 3rd down, Toledo calls a timeout. It's got 1 left. Starting to see a little bit of a different trend in the run game for Toledo. Early on, we saw Toledo try to attack the edges, even with the quarterback moving the pocket. Now it seems everything is more focused around attacking the middle of that Liberty defense.
Because I think they said the heck with trying to deal with Darrell Johnson. I believe that's what it was. You know, oftentimes, and it happens in, the NFL, you say, hey, run it, Micah Parsons. But don't do that when, if you can't block the guy. And so ultimately, he was a problem for him, and so they decided to attack inside.
A Toledo team coming off a MAC championship. Liberty started 8-1. Wins against BYU and Arkansas. Lone loss in that span was by 1 to Wake Forest, a game they should have won, and then lost 3 straight to end the season, including losses to UConn and New Mexico State. 3rd down and 6 with 1:04 to go. Here comes pressure. Pocket holding, Finn backpedaling. The screen goes absolutely nowhere. Mike Smith, the linebacker, with the TFL. That is 5 TFLs now for this Liberty defense, which came in leading the FBS in that category.
And already 6 tackles for Mike Smith. This is really well read. Kind of a misdirection, check down, if you will, by Stewart. And the fact that he stays with him, has that awareness, sees him, and makes that play is a really big-time defensive play by Mike Smith. And I think it ends up being really interesting what happens here because they had a negative play. Ultimately, you're out of field goal range, but maybe too close to punt the ball as well.
Yeah, they will, it appears, take the delay. Nope, they took their final timeout with 17 seconds. Liberty's defense came in number 1 in TFLs, number 3 in the nation in sacks, 23 takeaways. That's good for top 20 nationally. And they have come as advertised, and for that matter, Toledo's defense has as well. Liberty, I mentioned, ranked as high as number 19 in the AP poll. Hugh Freeze, late in the season, started talking to Auburn. That's when the on-field play seemed to suffer. Jamie Chadwell, who you heard from at the start of the 2nd quarter, the new head coach for Liberty after the bowl game. Terrific hire from Coastal Carolina, who brings one of the most cutting-edge offenses to Liberty.
And he's going to inherit a roster of some pretty good athletes, guys that have been recruited here to Liberty. The profile's changed quite a bit under Hugh Freeze.
Batsky's punt rolls into the end zone for a touchback. So 8 seconds left in the 2nd quarter. Liberty will have it at the 20-yard line. 3 timeouts, and Toledo will get the ball first in the 2nd half. Do you expect anything here?
I don't.
Not in this weather.
And I think, look, for as hot as Caden Salter was to start, it looks like
we're seeing Jonathan Bennett now.
Jonathan Bennett come in at at quarterback, although
might just be a kneel down.
may just be a kneel down. It's just been a bit of a struggle, passing the football after a pretty good start by Salter.
And that will take us to halftime. Defenses dominated in the first half. Liberty this season 7-0 when leading at halftime. Kevin Connors and Dan Mullins standing by from Boca to balmy Bristol. Fellas.
Weather affected.
Welcome back to Capital One Bowl Mania.
Welcome back to the RoofClaim.com Boca Raton Bowl, part of Capital One Bowl Mania. A rainy evening here in South Florida. Liberty leading Toledo 7-3 as we get ready for the start of the third quarter. Anish Shroff alongside former BC quarterback Tim Hasselbeck, Marilyn Payne down on the sidelines. At the very top of the broadcast, we said we had two elite defenses. Defenses with the rain coming down, they've ruled the roost.
Yeah, the extra defender, the rain. But yeah, the defenses have been phenomenal, especially Liberty's. I mean, you mentioned it off the top, the ability to play in the opposing offense's backfield. They've been able to do that. And I just think that pressure up front, as well as good coverage on the back end, really sound play from the linebacker level players, has made it tough sledding for Toledo. And I think Toledo's tried a number of different things. We've seen multiple quarterbacks, we've seen different running backs, but really it's been that swarming defense of the Flames that have made it a long night so far.
Look at the Tax Act performance update. This is what Liberty does. They lead the nation in TFLs. They're third in the nation in sacks. 5 tackles for loss, 3 sacks in the first 30 minutes.
And it's hard to overcome negative plays. Obviously, tackle for loss, sacks, those are negative plays. And, you pointed something out, and I think it was pretty astute, is the inside run game did look like it started to have some success after trying to run the perimeter early in the game. And so it'll be interesting to see if they try to get back to that.
Let's check in with Marilyn Payne.
Jason Candle said that he really wants to see his offense play better situational football. He was very disappointed in their inability to execute on third downs. He said the weather and the conditions are a factor right now, but we are capable of playing better on offense even with the rain coming down.
Well, thank you, Marilyn. One thing that we saw in the first half, both teams combined for 5 drives that ended in plus territory, and here we are. Only 10 points total in the first half.
And, usually plus territories where you'll take a shot. You maybe have a gadget play, something like that. Could see that in the second half.
Jerwan Newton goes in motion. He'll catch the screen. And Newton gobbled up, lost the football at the end out of bounds. No gain on the play. Amarion Williams, the redshirt freshman, got to him. Second down and 10.
Yeah, Amarion Williams does a good job in the perimeter. Just basically a sweep, but a wide receiver sweep, if you will. And how about just the swarming defense in the secondary? We've talked so much about the front and Darrell Johnson, but the secondary has tackled well for Liberty.
Daquan Finn had to come out of this game momentarily for a series, then returned before halftime. Missed some time during the regular season with injuries as well. To the air on second down. It's a sideline throw, and it's caught. Tackle broken. Newton. And a first down at the 36-yard line. Jerwan Newton, Toledo's top receiver.
And he just does a good job of running a stop here versus kind of press bail coverage. Good timing by Finn. Sticks him with the football, and then good strength to get the first down.
Now Stewart scavenging for yards, and not much there. Another play for no gain. We showed the graphic coming out of halftime, all the TFLs. There's probably been about 3 or 4 that have gone for no gain as well.
I would agree with you. And, sometimes it's players taking a chance up front, ducking inside. But when they do that, they have linebackers folding over the top, play well together. And it's one of the reasons they're hard to move the ball on. Finn,
chased by Darrell Johnson, escapes. And dives across the 40-yard line. It'll set up a 3rd down, about 4 to go.
Or negative plays, or plays that were almost negative plays that DeQuan Finn was able to get out of, because that doesn't happen often where Darrell Johnson has you in the backfield and you're able to get away, but that's why you see Finn, such a dangerous runner with the football, turns a bad play into a good one.
Finn on the slant over the middle, able to complete, and that's going to be a 1st down. Demir Blankenship, the sophomore out of Cincinnati, makes the catch.
That's hard to do. Quarterback run, you're tired, then throw an accurate ball on 3rd down. Good quarterback play by Finn.
So Toledo a yard away from getting back into plus territory. It's Stewart. This time he gets the edge. And he'll pick up a Toledo 1st down. A gain of 15 before Akeel Washington subdued him.
Good blocking on the perimeter once again. And we talked about wondering if we'd see more inside runs. Here's a perimeter run, and it's well blocked. And Jason Candle's talk to the offense at halftime seems to have worked.
They'll keep it on the ground. And it's Stewart for a pickup of about 4.
You see, when you get perimeter runs, you see Newton at the top of the screen just shielding somebody off. Will enable you to kind of get a good pickup. And I think that, when you talk about the run game, it is everybody. Certainly the guys up front get a lot of credit for it, but perimeter blocking, which Toledo receivers do a pretty good job of coming through.
Micah Kelly now. 3rd down coming up for Toledo. About 2 to go. And they'll bring in the bruiser, Penny Boone, on 3rd and short.
Well, and I can't help but think that, again, because of where we are in the field, you mentioned these drives that have gone into plus territory. You have 2 calls here. You hope you don't need them, but I do think that would be the case.
2 tight ends and Boone the running back. They fake it to Boone, they throw to Turner, who tiptoes the sideline for a 1st down.
Toledo gets into an unbalance to the left side here, and then essentially run an RPO. Essentially becomes offense. Option offense, where you have dive, keep pitch, the pitch man there being Turner, just a different way of getting to it. It's a good thing Turner is so athletic. Good job adjusting to that football.
Darrell Johnson ran off for Liberty. Finn toward the end zone, incomplete. Torres got turned around, had no idea where the ball was going. 2nd and 10.
Yeah, a bit of a miscommunication for sure, but we talk about getting kind of bogged down in plus territory. I do think we'll see some shots as Toledo struggled to find the end zone.
Penny Boone was lined up split wide and now comes into the backfield. Boone gets the call. Lost the football. Torres dove on it, able to recover near the sideline. Mike Smith, the forced fumble. It's 3rd down.
It's a good read by Boone as he's trying to bounce this outside. The run is initially designed to be inside. He tries to bounce it, and then Mike Smith does a great job of getting there. Ball slick, pops out, but Torres is able to identify it and jump on it.
12th play of the opening drive of this 3rd quarter. Four-man pressure. Finn has Newton, makes the catch. B-Buttons away from trouble, inside the 5, and finally swarmed at the 4-yard line. A pickup of 13. It's 1st and goal, Toledo.
It was the B-Button once Newton caught it. It was also great pass protection. Look at this pocket for Finn. Liberty brought some pressure, but you just see the pocket and the throwing lane. He was able to find Newton in third down, which was a struggle in the first half for Toledo. Been much better on this drive.
3 tight ends in the game for Toledo. Newton, the motion man. Finn throws, it's caught by Cool. Lenny Cool, his 3rd touchdown of the season, and Toledo has the lead.
And it's a very similar play call to the play we saw on 3rd down, where a tight end's going to scrape across the formation as if he's going to kick out, and then it's a fake to the back, and then the quarterback has the ability to push the perimeter, but then if you out leverage the defense, which Cool does, easy throw for your quarterback and a touchdown. Impressive opening drive of this second half by Toledo.
The extra point is up and good. Lenny Cool has 7 receptions all season. 3 of them touchdowns. 13 plays, 75 yards. Toledo on top. (10-7) Toledo after the touchdown catch by Lenny Cool. Joker Santas, bad Santas, what are those? Hey, Christmas spirit nonetheless. The Progressive Bowl Challenge Cup is here at the roofclaim.com Boca Raton Bowl, and it'll be awarded to the conference that has the highest win percentage in the postseason. We take a look at the current standings, and so far it's the Sun Belt on top at 3-0 with 4 bowl games remaining.
The bowl game's still on that slate, huh?
Yeah, there's a few more. Just a few more. Toledo chewed up 6 minutes and 15 seconds of clock on the opening drive of the 3rd quarter. And they'll kick off to the dangerous Demario Douglas. Chance here from the 5. That's actually Lewis. Ran laterally, didn't get very far, out to the 12. Tip back to the touchdown.
Yeah, you got man coverage back on that touchdown, and Cool is being covered right here, but he's going to scrape across this formation as if he's going to kick out block and then just leak into the flat, and you see no one goes with him. It's man coverage. I think Toledo's been running the football so much that there's so many eyes in the backfield, and because they do that, Lenny Cool finds himself wide open, puts Toledo on top.
Liberty only managed 9 yards of total offense in the 2nd quarter. They come out using the ground game. It's Shedro Lewis who has the lone Liberty touchdown. Nice pickup on 1st down. It'll bring up a 2nd and short. And Caden Salter got off to a good start, then regressed. Still out there to begin the 2nd half.
I mean, he hasn't completed a pass since the 1st quarter, and you mentioned it, got off to a really fast start.
Backside pressure, ball is loose. It's on the ground. Who's got it?
Tell you what, Nate Given got there in a hurry and knocked that football out.
It's Toledo football, 1st and goal for the Rockets.
How about this 2nd half by Toledo? Really impressive opening drive offensively, and then get back out on the field, and Nate Given gets to Salter, knocks that football out, and I believe it's Jamal Hines who's able to recover it. And I think
Hines was the one who covered it up, a 4-time.
Jason Kendall said, hey, listen, guys, we did the fishing, we did the beach, we did all that, but remember, we're here to play a football game as well.
And a chance now with a very short field. Finn rolls to his right. Throws on the run, incomplete in the direction of Turner. Jamal Turner, big number 9, 6'6". He becomes a big part of the offense once they get inside the 10.
Well, you said it earlier. I mean, he's got 8 touchdown receptions on the year, and that's 6'6". Create a lot of matchups down in the red zone. Also, like what I've seen already, just getting Finn on the move where he's most effective, and really, I think it helps him make good decisions as he has everything out in front of him.
Two tight ends, both to the right. It's Stewart, the running back. Liberty showing blitz. They bring it off the edge. Stewart is dropped in the backfield at the 15 for a loss. Guess who?
Oh, my word. I mean, you don't even have to guess because it's Darrell Johnson on the left side of your screen. There's a blitz coming off of that side, so that allows him to play faster than inside. And how violent of a player is Darrell Johnson? Man, he's a lot of fun to watch. It's fun watching him, on film. It's even more fun seeing him in person. And also because I'm up here in the booth with you.
3rd down and goal from the 12. Finn for the end zone. He wants Stewart, overshot him, and it's 4th down, and that's a big win for this Liberty defense to hold Toledo to a field goal try here.
That's a big response. Sudden change backed up in your own end, and it's one of the reasons I think that when you talk about Johnson, coach has said to us he's like a big play wide receiver. Create a negative play, which leads to 3rd and goal from outside the 10-yard line, and you're forced to try to push it in the end zone that way.
A 30-yard attempt for Clucky, who hit from 41, and he knocks it through. Toledo extends to a 13-7 lead on Liberty. Flames get the ball back. Will they make a quarterback change?
The RoofClaim.com Boca Raton Bowl is brought to you by TaxAct. File for less and get more. And Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Some notable quarterback MVPs in this bowl game. Jason Driscoll, 2017. Zach Wilson, 2 years ago. Bailey Zappi last year. Wilson and Zappi both currently in the AFC East. Jets and Patriots. Might have a defensive player getting that honor tonight.
There's a guy who's made a pretty good claim to it so far, but his team is trailing.
Let's see who leads this Liberty offense back out. It looks like it'll be Caden Salter. Transfer from Tennessee. Has battled a groin injury this season. It required surgery. He missed some time. And we were wondering if we would see Jonathan Bennett. He only came down for one snap, and that was a kneel down. Coach just said expect to see both quarterbacks, but they will continue to ride with Salter. 1st and 10 from the 25. Douglas joins him in the backfield. Salter keeps. Using his feet to pick up a 1st down as we check in with Maryland.
And Caden Salter is a quarterback who Josh Aldridge explained is just a good body language guy. It's very difficult to get him to hang his head, but after the fumble and ensuing Toledo points, his head was hung, and Jonathan Bennett was the one who encouraged him to go right back out there and keep playing as well as they all know he can.
He's back out there, made a nice play with his feet. Set up the tunnel screen. And there is Douglas. Picks up about 3 or 4. 2nd down. DeMario Douglas in space. Doesn't need much of it. Is so dangerous.
No, he doesn't. And you go back to that Salter run 2 plays ago. It was the tension on Douglas as they kind of faked a screen to him that really helped the Caden Salter run. But Liberty's got to get something going offensively. Been a bit of a struggle since the 1st quarter.
Against a 3-man rush. Another screen. There's Douglas again. And snakes out of bounds after a pickup of 5.
And you can see why it's so important to get Douglas the football. Even just throwing him the ball in the flat, his ability to make the first player miss and fall forward, or just pick up some more yards, obviously, and then have the ability to also break a big one because of his speed.
6 catches, but only 16 yards. Toledo's kept him in check. Malik Caper, short yardage power back, is in the game as we get flags.
Ball start. On the offense, number 77. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
That's Cooper McCaw. So 3rd and 2 now becomes 3rd and 7, and you don't need Caper anymore. He goes to the sideline. Shedrow Lewis back in.
It was interesting. McCaw jumps, and Culpepper, I think, did a good job. A little bit of a flinch, and so Culpepper. Oh, you see that clap there? That's what it was. Deshaun Johnson basically with a clap to get Liberty to jump.
On 3rd down, Givhan off the edge. Salter in trouble and has to throw it away. 4th down.
Was Givhan again, and an interesting sequence there. I think a clap, which got Liberty to jump off sides, which you're technically not allowed to do. It's basically simulating the snap. That happens, it gets Liberty off schedule, and then you get to a straight drop back situation, and Givhan, who had the big play on the previous drive, sack fumble, able to force Salter to throw it away.
Punt by Alvis. And Beal dropped it. It's a muff. And Liberty recovered.
We talk so much about ball security for a quarterback or offensive players, but special teams is no different. And while the rain has let up some, it's still coming down, and Beal signals for the fair catch. Just misjudges it. Ends up too high and his body pops out, and Sibley, covering the kick, does a good job of jumping on it.
And a new lifeline for Liberty now, so their offense now stuck in some quicksand. Well, now you take over with a short field. It's 1st down, goal to go from the 10.
And Liberty's points earlier off of a turnover on downs. Gets a turnover here. It's something they were terrible at during the season, is scoring off of takeaways.
The give is to Lewis. And he hammerheads inside the 5 to the 3. 2nd and goal now. 3 yards to go, and Liberty with a chance with a touchdown and PAT to take the lead.
And some of these physical downhill runs in the red zone when they've gotten there have been good for Liberty.
Lewis has the lone Liberty touchdown today. Handoff Lewis, and he is hitting the backfield. There's Jamal Hines, 4-time all-conference player. He's been a staple on that defensive front, and he makes the TFL.
Yeah, up at the top of the screen, Hines, he just comes inside and a little bit of a read play. And Liberty's been in this unbalanced formation a few times, and I think nice adjustment there by Toledo. And Hines, who's made a couple of big plays, had a fumble recovery earlier, tackle for loss of his own.
A young man who graduated in May, first person in his family to graduate from college. Salter, flushed, flag down, end zone, ruled incomplete in the direction of Jerome Jackson, and a penalty marker is down. Hold on Liberty.
Holding on the offense, number 77. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. 3rd down.
That's a hold there, and it's on the right side of the screen here at left tackle. He's just outside the grab and the escape. The escape gets the tackles often. I will tell you what, I'm a little bit surprised that they didn't decline the penalty here, because look, something bad can happen. You know, it's unlikely that you give up a touchdown, you know, from the 16-yard line, but DPI, you know, defensive holding, something like that could give Liberty a new set of downs.
And now we get another penalty marker.
I'm just thinking, you know,
False start on the offense, number 15. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
I think because it was an incomplete pass to Jerome Jackson in the back of the end zone, you know, 4th and goal from the 12 is probably a field goal opportunity. Now listen, maybe Jason Candle thinks, look, we've gotten a negative play. Maybe we force the quarterback to make a bad decision. Maybe force a longer field goal attempt, whatever it may be, but somewhat surprised that they accepted the penalty.
They had the ball at the 3-yard line at one point. Now from the 21, 3rd and goal, underneath throw. And that'll get Liberty to the 15-yard line. So 4th down, this will bring on Nick Brown for a field goal attempt. Hanshaw, the reception, he was called for the penalty on the previous play. So Liberty first half, no penalties, 3 on that drive. And now Brown, 11 of 18 on the season. He's made 6 in a row from inside 50. And this will be a 33-yarder. And he missed it. Well, that's why you don't decline the penalty, right, Tim?
That's why Jason Candle is the head coach and got a MAC championship under his belt, coaching his team in a bowl game. This would push him back a little bit. That one is hooked, and they should feel pretty good about that defensive stand.
Toledo muffed a punt at its own 10-yard line. Liberty recovered, could not score. As we look at tonight's clutch delivery, brought to you by Chipotle.
By Chipotle and by Jamal Hines, because, you know, this play here that gets Liberty off schedule kind of changed everything. Then led to, you know, a holding penalty, and, you know, that stop right there and that response to the sudden change in special teams blunder was big time. We've talked about them defensively, but, you know, after that turnover, it's impressive what they've done tonight.
So Toledo takes over after the missed kick. It's Stewart on 1st down. Tries the middle and ends up picking up 5. 2nd down and 5. On 2nd and 5. Finn buying time. Tries to run for it and comes down awkwardly right at the line of scrimmage, maybe a yard. So 3rd down. Jason Candle from the fabled Mount Union coaching tree. You were joking with him on our call. You said, hey, you were Nick Sirianni's roommate. He goes, no. Nick Sirianni was my roommate in college.
And then was joking with him about who steals more plays from the other guy. That ends up being the conversation. Nick Sirianni all of a sudden, you know, has a quarterback that can run the football. He's studying a lot of Toledo offense with Taquan Finn to figure out what can work with Jalen Hurts.
Eagles' best team in the NFL. That's a 1st down catch, the tight end Turner. You look at some of those coaches, though, that have come through Mount Union. They all played or coached, sometimes both, for the great Larry Karras, who won countless Division III championships. Matt Campbell, the predecessor at Toledo for Jason Candle. Now Alex Grinch now at USC. Jay Sawvell at Wyoming. That's going to be a negative play. Darrell Johnson again. He's come as advertised, 11 in red. One of the most disruptive frontline players in the FBS. And he has been a chaos agent all night.
All night long, and Jason Candle, you might just think about just going the other direction, because it doesn't matter. It's been tight ends, it's been tackles, it's been a combination of both of them. And Darrell Johnson, who I think there was some question of, hey, will he play in this bowl game? Not only has he played in this bowl game, he's been dominant.
3 TFLs in this game. 2nd and 15. Finn retreating. There comes Johnson again, who clips him. A flag comes in at the end of the play. Ball is incomplete. Darrell Johnson like a torpedo at the feet of Daquan Finn. And this might be against Liberty.
I think we're going to get a hold in the secondary.
Holding on the defense, number 7. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot, automatic first down.
Penalties have undone Liberty in this second half.
They have, and Mike Smith Jr. is just, I think he's out in the flat with Stewart, the running back, out of the backfield, and see Stewart's going to escape out to the right, and as Finn decides to run away, like, I'm not sure that he holds him there, and really a brutal break for Liberty defensively.
So a first down now for Toledo. They'll keep it on the ground. And it's Stewart out to about the 45-yard line to take us to the end of the third quarter. Both teams got a little sloppy in that third quarter, but Toledo found the end zone for the first time. They added a field goal, and it's the Rockets with a 6-point lead here in rainy Boca.
The College Football Playoff Semifinals, Saturday, December 31st on ESPN.
And welcome back to the roofclaim.com Boca Raton Bowl, all a part of Capital One Bowl Mania. Anish Robb, Tim Hasselbeck, and Marilyn Payne down on the sidelines.
After Liberty's missed field goal attempt, linebacker Jamal Hines came over to the bench and he yelled, "That's who we are." It's an echo of what Toledo takes its pride in and has all season long. Be who you say you are. It's the motto that's all over the walls, and it's what's become a part of what you see on the field. That's something that Jason Candle says is paramount to the success that this team's been able to have, and he said it's how we were able to win the MAC championship too.
Number 1 defense in the MAC. Right now, they're looking for the offense to give them a little cushion. 2nd down, 4 to go to begin the fourth quarter. Finn fires a screen pass through the hands of Blankenship.
They had something there too. Blankenship had blockers out in front of him, and it was a good accurate throw by Finn. And I think for the most part, teams have handled, when you think about having a gap between your last few games, handling these conditions, for the most part have done a pretty good job with the ball, especially offensively. And Blankenship lets that one go. Now it leads to a critical 3rd down.
Toledo 6 out of 12 on 3rd downs. 4-man pressure. Out route, it's caught, it's Newton. And he moves the chains for the Rockets into Liberty territory.
It's a great route by Newton, and it's a perfect throw by Daquan Finn. Just look at the ball placement here. Talking about these conditions, bit of an option route, and ball right to the hands on the outbreak. Well done.
Here comes Stewart. And he tumbles down to the 41-yard line, a pickup of 6 on the play. And Micah Kelly now in to spell Jaquez Stewart. The way they rotate Kelly and Stewart and Boone, and then you factor in Finn, this running game comes at you from a lot of angles.
I mean, just wave after wave, 4 different, people that will attack you on the ground.
Kelly is devoured in the backfield. Darrell Johnson again. There is a flag down.
I'll just say this. I've called a number of college football games. I don't know if I've seen somebody so disruptive and dominant.
Holding on the offense, number 62. That penalty is declined. 3rd down.
That is 4 TFLs now for Johnson.
Listen, here he comes just inside here, and it's just like his quickness, his ability to dip underneath, take that chance and make that play is really incredible.
He is upping his draft stock tonight on 3rd down. High throw, it's brought in, broken tackle, 1st down. Blankensee atones for the drop pass earlier on the drive.
And just a great job of catching the football and being able to stay on your feet, knowing where the defender is coming from. That's an excellent job by Blankensee.
Tim, back to Darrell Johnson for a moment. You cover the NFL. Is there a comp for Johnson?
What's interesting, I don't know that I have one. Did you see Blankensee break that tackle and get up the field?
On the ground, big hole, Kelly to the 20-yard line, Toledo in the red zone.
You mentioned it just a second ago, Anish, like the wave after wave. Here comes Kelly now, back with plenty of speed in his own right, and you see the moves in the open field. Good job of getting downhill.
Kelly again, seeking the edge, and picks up a couple. Wednesday night college basketball on ESPN, inaugural Jumpman Invitational in Charlotte, Michigan, and North Carolina. Highlight our coverage at 7 Eastern on ESPN and the app. Thirteenth play of this Toledo drive. Remember, they opened this half with a long, lengthy drive that took up 6 minutes plus. It ended in a touchdown. Finn rolls to his right, throws, it's caught. Blankensee down inside the 5, 1st and goal, Toledo.
And again, Finn on the move, accurate throw to Blankensee, and a little bit more tempo for Toledo.
Snap on the ground. Finn able to pick up the grounder and skirts forward to the 5-yard line. Disaster averted. That could have been a lot worse. Instead, only a loss of a couple.
Every now and then you've got to play a little shortstop, back in the backfield. There's the move the pocket play to Blankensee. Does a good job of staying on the move. And then this one here, just again, the conditions. We mentioned it earlier with Devin Rogers, but that ball's on the ground, and maybe Finn was a bit of a baseball player at one point.
And Darrell Johnson down for Liberty. It hasn't been close. He's been the best player on the field.
He really has been, and you hope that this is, exhaustion, cramping, or something of that nature as he gets help to his feet. I think it may be, as he played hard tonight. And you ask for a comp, like 6'3", 240, and I just think of guys that are built that way, that can rush the passer, have pass rush moves that are disruptive. Like, can he be a DeMarcus Ware type of player? Like, can he be that? He's just trying to chase it down from behind. But that would be a guy that kind of comes to mind.
Finn to the air, fires, caught. And that's Newton. They get a little closer to the 1-yard line. Brylan Green saved a touchdown. It'll bring up a 3rd and goal.
Yeah, it's just a good job of Finn of getting this ball out quickly. It's open, and then Also a nice job of just rallying to make a tackle by Green, and leads to a critical third down. And I would say with Penny Boone in the backfield, either handing it to him or putting it in his belly and letting Daquan Finn keep the football.
Two tight ends, Turner and Cool. Now Boone goes wide. Finn, quarterback run behind Turner, reaching and in for a touchdown.
Well, that's the advantage you have when you have a quarterback that is a tough physical runner. Motion Boone out of the backfield, but still be able to run power football with a lead blocker. Boone out of the backfield, Turner leads the way, and then just good, hard, tough running by Daquan Finn.
Toledo will go for 2 to make this a 21-7 game, and we're going to get a timeout by Liberty. So the Flames have to burn a timeout. They've got 2 left, down 12, 10:35 to go in the fourth.
You see the touchdown. See, it feels like empty. Toledo's done this a few times, and it's kind of interesting where, a lot of times the defense will read it as empty because the back leaves the backfield, but when you have a quarterback that's a great runner and a tight end that's a lead blocker, you can do things like that.
Tonight's Player Spotlight is brought to you by the city of Boca Raton. Daquan Finn has done it with his arm. He's done it with his legs. Touchdown through the air, touchdown on the ground. He was the MVP of the MAC championship, sophomore out of Detroit. And he's got Toledo on the verge of the Rockets' first bowl win since winning this bowl game in Jason Candle's very first game as Rockets head coach back in 2015. Finn rolls to the right, shovels to Stewart, who walks in for 2.
Little page out of Andy Reid's Kansas City playbook there, I think. Make it look like sprint out, get that little shovel pass underneath. And how about the way this Toledo offense has come alive in the second half? Really impressive. Jason Candle talked to his group at halftime, got him going, said he wanted to see them playing better offensively. They did it to open the half and do it once again here. Daquan Finn has the Rockets on a roll.
(21-7) Toledo. The Rockets were down 7-3 at halftime. Our annual NBA on Christmas Day tradition continues. 5 star-studded games on ESPN. It all starts with Sixers-Knicks at noon. Takes you all the way into the 26th, at least on the East Coast. Suns-Nuggets, the nightcap at 10:30 Eastern. Crucial drive now for Liberty. You're down by 2 scores, and Toledo has shrunk this game. Toledo's had the ball for 14-plus minutes in the second half.
They've basically doubled them up in terms of plays run, time of possession, all of that stuff. And you mentioned it. It's kind of critical for Liberty to get something going.
Shedro Lewis turbines across the 30. Tim, for context, that last drive by Toledo was 16 plays. Since the first quarter, Liberty has run a total of 16 plays.
And just, obviously the turnover will contribute to that, getting stopped on when you have a short field to try to score. And look, some of it I think has been, just bad execution by Liberty, but you have to give credit to this Toledo defense.
Salter hands off to TJ Green. It's been an injury-riddled season for the running back, and he's tackled by Jamal Hines. Salter in trouble, dances. And he might have a first down.
You know, it's plays like that, though, you know, I know it hasn't been perfect for Salter, but plays like that just make you think about, like, okay, what can be? I mean, just the elusiveness. He has a live arm, and I think that, you know, as you look to the future at this program, I think it's Salter's ability that can really get you excited.
Salter on the run, flag down, and he throws it toward the Toledo sideline.
You know, and Nate Given, you know, we've talked quite a bit about, you know, Darrell Johnson, rightfully so, but Nate Given has created a little havoc tonight.
Holding on the offense, number 77, 10-yard penalty, first down.
That's another penalty on McCaw, and Tim, some of these penalties have been a direct result of Toledo winning these one-on-one matchups.
Yeah, I mean, just look at, there's Given. He just, you know, was able to get the corner. McCaw grabs him, and you've been impressed with Toledo at every level of their defense.
Salter over the middle on the slant, incomplete. They wanted Noah Frith. Chris McDonald had a couple of PI penalties early. He's settled down, and these Toledo corners have done a great job on the outside receivers for Liberty.
And you said it earlier, I mean, Quinyon Mitchell, who's on the other side, who, I mean, he hasn't had a ball thrown his way, it doesn't feel like. And so McDonald, who you said, you know, it's easy for corners to get down when, you know, you have a couple of calls go against you, but he's responded extremely well since then.
On second down, Salter's got all day. Lets it fly deep downfield. He wants Douglas, flag down. There was a little contact that time. It was Quinyon Mitchell in coverage. Multiple flags down. That was Liberty's best against Toledo's best.
It certainly was, and it was great pass protection to allow for the route to develop down the field.
Pass interference on the defense, number 27, 15-yard penalty from the previous spot, automatic first down.
And I thought that this ball was thrown too far up the field, not far enough across the field, and I think because of that and that adjustment, there was some contact, but I don't know. I think Quinyon Mitchell had a bit of a case there.
So first down, it's College, not a spot foul. Salter in the pocket, rolls to his right, throws on the run, and it's brought in. That is Sibley. He's that wide receiver running back hybrid. He recovered the muffed punt back in the third quarter.
And you know, the one thing that Liberty does have going for them, it seems like the rain has stopped and the ball is coming out of Caden Salter's hand seemingly pretty quickly, and it's a good sign as you're trying to mount a comeback.
Three big bodies into the game. Salter keeps, has the 40, following his tight ends upfield, and gets to the 34-yard line, a little shy of the marker.
You know, Bentley Hanshaw, the tight end, is able to kind of wrap around on this and be the escort to Caden Salter as he gets to the perimeter. And how about Salter with that smile? You know, the coaches kind of mentioned to us, you know, he's kind of, you know, in some ways so positive, always smiling upbeat, like, hey, this matters, this is important, but that kind of calm and kind of happy-go-lucky feel about him certainly still in play.
Here's Lewis. Finds his seam and picks up a first down. Austin Henderson, the tight end, held the block long enough for Lewis to sneak just inside of him.
And I like the pace of this drive for Liberty. You know, you're not in a 2-minute mode. Yes, you are concerned about the number of possessions you're going to have. Obviously, you need to score twice to tie this game up, but still plenty of time to stay in your traditional offense.
The fake to Douglas. Salter down the seam. It's caught. Sibley scores. Touchdown, Liberty.
Really cool play design by Liberty. You know, the attention on Douglas as he's coming across the formation. They've had some of these touch passes, fly sweeps to him. And so because of that action, the bluff on the perimeter, that gets Sibley running down the seam, and you know, not a super accurate throw, but a great adjustment by Sibley. He's able to kind of get situated, turned around to catch that football.
Nick Brown now for the PAT. Bad snap, kick, no good. Wet conditions, the snap was bobbled. The hold was rushed as a result, and Brown kicked it wide. That's not on the kicker.
We mentioned it. We've talked about, being able to handle the ball on offense. Special teams, it's shown up. Bad hold, don't get the kick, and that may matter in this one.
The RoofPlane.com Boca Raton Bowl is brought to you by Roof Plane, protection made simple, and Boca Raton, the perfect blend of business and pleasure. Visit businessboca.com.
The pep rally, part of the bowl festivities this week. Toledo leads by 8. Let's check in with Marilyn for an injury update.
Impactful DN Darrell Johnson left the field and walked slowly, only with assistance from Liberty's training staff, over to the oxygen tank on the opposite end of the field. He only wore the mask for about 30 seconds and then took it off, insisting he was good to go. He made his way back down the sideline, favoring his left leg and keeping weight off the right side, but wide receiver Caleb Sneed really punctuated it. He said, "Man, we need you. You're the one playing out there like we all need to be. You're the one who really wants this. You're setting the tone. We really need you, man."
Well, he's been the best player on the field tonight. And let's see what Liberty does when they come out on defense. And Johnson, helmet on, coming out on the field as we take a look at tonight's protection spotlight presented by Roof Claim. Yeah, that's a game day resume that speaks in the imperative.
I mean, just incredible. I mean, 9 tackles, 5 of those for loss. Sack. He's been around the quarterback, some pressures and hits as well. And, I think that oftentimes if you haven't seen a player play in person, you watch him, you have expectations. He's exceeded mine.
That is the protection spotlight brought to you by roofclaim.com. Toledo's had 2 drives in this half. One went for 6 minutes plus, another went for 7 minutes. A third started with goal to go. Finn on first down, throws it deep downfield. Dangerous throw, well underthrown and nearly intercepted.
Dangerous throw there by Finn. I mean, he's trying to hit Blankumsey, who's been really good in the second half on the over, and I think he was kind of fortunate and kind of gets away with one there because Akeel Washington was in that vicinity and nearly came down with it.
Blitz off the edge. The give us to Stewart. Friendly fire, ran into his own man, and then the nickel got him. It's Quentin Reese. You saw the nickel blitz off that left side, and once Stewart ran into his own man, Reese able to come around to make the play.
And part of the reason he runs into his own man is look at Darrell Johnson on the bottom of the screen. Look at him squeeze this, hold the point of attack, and push it back inside. Then when it eventually bounces, Mike Smith and others are there to make the play, and it's a great job.
Toledo 7 of 8 on third downs in the second half. Finn to the outside, open receiver, it's caught. Little juke move, now a spin, upfield. And did he step out of bounds? He might have. Let's see where they mark him. No, they will give him the first down. It's Blankumsey. He had one big drop in this half. Since then, he's made plays. This is what? Right trigger, B button.
And he's been amazing on third down, and that was huge with the run after catch.
Now Stewart on the cutback, like a whirligig to the 40. You start to look at the clock, Tim, as we mentioned. Long, lengthy drives have been in the DNA for Toledo in this second half.
Yeah, long, lengthy drives, and you're able to do that when you get to third down and convert, and they've been on fire in the second half on third down.
And now they're content to milk some clock. Play clock down to 10. They snap it with 1. Kelly to the outside. And able to pick up a yard. That looked to be almost another TFL for this Liberty defense.
Yeah, it was Trayshawn Clark. And I thought that even if he didn't get the TFL, I thought there was a chance that they were going to draw a flag, because as he knifed inside, I saw some jersey pull, which clearly would have been tough to overcome for Toledo offensively on this drive with what they're trying to do.
Another third down here for Toledo, 8 of 9 in the second half. Blankupsy, the motion man. Here comes the blitz, Finn in the pocket, and sacked! Akeel Washington, first sack of the season. Toledo will have to punt, and Liberty will get the ball back with about 4 minutes to go.
Yeah, it's an inside pressure here. See Washington and Smith come on the blitz, and we've seen Finn be able to escape from pressure throughout the night, but not that time from Washington. And how about this? We've talked so much about Darrell Johnson, but Washington's had a heck of a game, and Mike Smith Jr.'s got 15 tackles on the night. They have been all over the place.
Demario Douglas, 2 career punt return touchdowns, waits at the 35. Batsky kicks it away. Fair catch is made at the 33. Only a 38-yard punt. 3:53 left in regulation. Liberty needs a touchdown and a 2-point conversion to tie. Tomorrow night in New Orleans, it's the R+L Carriers New Orleans Bowl, Western Kentucky, South Alabama, 9 p.m. on ESPN as Capital One Bowl Mania continues. We'll have our Capital One postgame show immediately following the game. Just to log on and fire up the ESPN app. We'll have the trophy presentation as well. A lot to be decided in terms of who gets that trophy. Toledo leading by 8. Liberty's defense forcing the punt, and now the Flames have the ball from their own 33. 2 timeouts, 3:53 to go. Salter, backwards pass. It's a wide receiver pass. Downfield, it's caught. 20, 10, touchdown! Bentley Hanshaw. He's a blocking tight end, seldom used in the passing game. Liberty into the bag of tricks, and now 2 points away from tying it up.
What a call. The only thing they maybe did was score too quickly. We'll see what happens on the 2-point, but how about that? Chris Klenak is calling plays and dialing up a gem to Bentley Hanshaw on the double pass.
C.J. Daniels threw the pass, and now Liberty will line up for a 2-point conversion to try to tie this game. 2 for 5 this season when going for 2. Douglas goes wide, empty set. Salter moves the pocket, runs right, throws, corner of the end zone, incomplete. There is a flag down. It's in the backfield.
Try is no good.
Penalty declined. 3:40 to go. You got 2 timeouts. You trust your defense here, or you thinking onside kick?
I'm thinking probably onside kick because of how my offense has struggled, but Liberty fighting back. It's not over. The double pass to Bentley Hanshaw to get it close, but the failed two-point conversion allows Toledo to stay on top. So Liberty certainly making it exciting. Here's the Boca Raton Bowl.
Two-point game, fourth quarter, 3:40 to go. Liberty with a touchdown, but a failed two-point conversion. SportsCenter follows our game. Highlights and reaction from the NBA. Also, key moments from the ACC's top four clashes on the hardwood, and the latest on Jalen Hurts' injury. Tim, you think Liberty should try an onside kick here? Why?
Well, it's just been so hard to stop Toledo, and so I think, while yes, you have the timeouts, Toledo's had, been really good this second half.
That one is juggled, and Toledo able to cover it up. So not quite an onside kick, but they tried to place that kick and almost got a break.
They did, and you go back to the double pass. Here's Bollinger. He's a pass protector now. He stays behind the line of scrimmage, which you need to do if you're going to be blocking, and then they just leak out of the backfield with Hanshaw. And so Bollinger staying behind the line of scrimmage, which means he's a legal blocker. He's not blocking downfield. Gives Daniels enough time to throw an absolute seed to Bentley Hanshaw. Liberty's back in this one.
Hanshaw came into the game with 4 catches all season, no touchdowns. Finn on first down will hand it off. Stewart's got a big hole. Bulldozes a defender out to the 35-yard line. It'll be a yard shy of the marker. Second down and 1. Liberty's got 2 timeouts left, and Toledo will take its time.
And I would have thought for Liberty that you would just start taking them immediately. Surprised that Josh Aldridge doesn't use that timeout initially, because clearly, look at what's going to happen here is, Toledo is going to use every second of the play clock. I think you want to use your timeouts on the front end.
Now they'll hand it off. They'll move the chains. That'll momentarily stop the clock, but it'll start once the ball is spotted. You get the sense Liberty was probably thinking we needed to hold them to fewer than 9 yards on first down to justify using that timeout, but now again you're losing precious time.
Yeah, you are. There's no doubt about it. And I think at some point what you want to do is you want to stop the clock, because Toledo is eventually going to have to run a play, and if you can punch at the football, get the football out, you've left more time on the clock for yourself if you start using the timeouts.
Finn hands it off. It's Stewart again. Another big run. And another first down for Toledo, close to midfield. 2:01 to go. Clock continues to run as they spot the ball. There's an injured Liberty player down at midfield.
And how about the way Toledo's running the football, in a 4-minute drive scenario where everyone knows you're going to run the ball. And let me tell you something. We've talked quite a bit about Jamal Turner as a receiver, but how about as a lead blocker there? That was impressive.
He was the lead blocker on the touchdown run by Finn. The injured Liberty player is cornerback Marion Williams. For the Flames, this is nothing new. They've played in an FBS leading 6 games that have been decided by 3 points or less. 3-3 in those games. For Toledo, most of their close games have been losses. 4 of their 5 losses have been by 7 points or less, but the Rockets in the driver's seat. They've got the ball, they've got a first down, there's 2 minutes left, and Liberty used one of its timeouts. So Liberty only has 1 timeout left.
0-2. Thank you.
I think the situational football in the second half has really stuck out to me when I think about what Toledo has done. I mean, third down football, just how they've kind of manage those situations. And then here, getting the ball back, having to pick up a couple first downs, try to end the game with the ball in your possession. Off to a good start.
Third downs, you brought it up to 8 of 10 for Toledo in the second half.
Which is, almost unheard of in terms of efficiency on third down, especially when you think about how it was a struggle. I think 2 of 7 on third down in the first half. So Jason Candle talked about playing better offensively. They've done that.
First and 10 after the timeout. It's Stewart. The hole's getting bigger. He's got the edge. He'll try to stay in bounds. He picks up a first down for Toledo. Ball at the 36-yard line.
It looked like you mentioned he tried to stay in bounds. He's doing the right thing. I think as he goes down, his foot slides out of bounds, and so the clock stops. But another impressive run by Toledo. Again, I can't stress how hard it is to run it when everyone knows that you are going to try to do that. And Jaquez Stewart finishing this game strong.
He gets the call again. And that's a pickup of 9. And a timeout. That is the final timeout of the game for Liberty. Tonight's Capital One player of the game, it's Toledo quarterback DeQuan Finn.
He's starting to add some hardware to the collection after the MAC championship game, and now here, the Boca Raton Bowl. He's just done a really good job because the game didn't start off perfect for him. And I just feel like in terms of decisions he's made as a passer, how tough he's been as a runner, and what this offense has done in the second half. As you just look at this, production. Jason Candle said to us, it's about making the right play. And it just felt like he did that tonight. Think back to when it was a downpour in terms of the rain. Maybe not cutting it loose when you maybe had somebody that was potentially popping open. I think there's something about him that when I watch him, I just feel like, look, if you were in, gym class in high school or recess, it was like, in middle school, like he was going to be the first pick. He's just that kind of competitor. He left this game at one point, injured.
Got hurt, came out for a series, came back in. And that's the sealer, that's the dagger. Stewart the first down, and Toledo is about to get its first bowl win since 2015. That was Jason Candle's coaching debut. It took place in this bowl game, in this stadium, and like today, in a driving rain.
In a driving rain, although it's held up, and I'm impressed with the resolve and resiliency of this Toledo team. And, Jason Candle will talk about, sayings that they have on their walls, really it'll play out. And, it feels like it's kind of happened here where, down, continue to stay in the fight. And because of that, going to find themselves with a bowl win.
And now DeQuan Finn making sure nobody does anything that could jeopardize the situation. For Liberty, this will be the first bowl loss for the Flames as an FBS team. They were 3-0, and it's Liberty's final game as an independent heading to Conference USA next season. One more snap will do it. And Toledo, your winner in the 2022 roofclaim.com Boca Raton Bowl. The big halftime adjustment, Tim. came from Toledo's offense. They were bullied in the trenches for most of the first half. They bullied Liberty in the trenches with their run game in the second half.
Yeah, in the second half, and I think you have to give Jason Candle a lot of credit for how he coached his football team. In-game adjustments, how they responded, and it's not that cold, Coach. You're in Florida.
Yeah, that feels better when it's 65 degrees. Final score here, Toledo 21, Liberty 19. The Capital One postgame trophy ceremony can be seen live now on the ESPN app. Sports Center coming up next.
Square Garden. But it was the Knicks on this night that controlled the trifecta game. 11 in the first half alone for New York. Dubs had 12 the entire game. Knicks rolling double-digit lead at the half. Third quarter. Look at this no-look pass to Julius Randle from Brunson, who finished with 21 points, and that the fanciest of his 5 dimes. A few minutes later, Knicks are rolling. R.J. Barrett, James Wiseman's on the floor because so many Warriors are banged up, and Wiseman just doesn't get a lot of playing time, and he looked a little shaky out there. And then, how about them Cats, Mike? Emmanuel quickly, 22 off the bench. Knicks had 6 guys in double figures, and they destroy the Warriors. The Knicks are rolling, earning their 8th straight win, 38. Margin of victory, their largest win over the last 2 seasons. It's the longest active win streak in the NBA. Next up, Mike, is the Nets. That's who the Dubs got